today we're really excited to be talking about video verification, and we're talking with Brent Steinberg with the Bold Group. So really excited to bring them into the DW Spectrum technology partner ecosystem with this integration that we're going to be talking about this morning. Again, thank you everybody for joining us. If you have any questions, please use the Zoom question, submit your questions. We've got some time allotted towards the end for any Q&A to kind of discuss it. We love open discussions about this product and about both of these products and how they work together. We're really looking forward to kicking off this partnership. So please submit your questions through the Zoom. This webinar is being recorded, so we will post this up on the in the technology partner section here. Well, once we get it all buttoned up and finished here, we'll get it on there for future reference in case anybody is interested in that. All right, so without further ado, Brett, why don't you go ahead and just tell us a little bit about the Bold Group, if you would. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Patrick, and good morning, everyone. I am the Director of Sales for the alarm monitoring side of the business here at Bold. And as Patrick stated, we're both really excited about this new partnership, and I'm excited to represent Bold here today for the webinar. And I can finally say that Digital Watchdog and Manitou are now fully functioning together, which is exciting. As many of you know or are already an existing Manitou user, you're the reason why we're all here today and we make this possible. Look, we've surveyed all of our customers over the last few years, and we really wanted to understand what the number one piece that you guys were missing, and that was the video integration piece. So partnerships like this are so important moving forward, and we'll continue to listen to each and every single one of you. And again, we're beyond thrilled to be able to offer this to you all today. If you didn't know, you can see here on the slide that Bold is a household name in the industry. We've been around for over 40 years, having over 60 of the SDM top 100 security companies, and we're maintaining a successful, long-lasting relationships for many, many years. You can rest assured that Bold is focused on the success of our customers, and we want to make sure that we continue to foster those relationships moving forward. We support hundreds of monitoring centers, and we serve millions of accounts and billions of dollars in assets. So as a trusted name in the industry, what better way to expand your platform than have the ability to work hand in hand with Digital Watchdog? What it really boils down to, and really I think about this often, is what's in it for the end user? And the Manitou and Digital Watchdog platform, this integration allows the end user to have faster response times. So I think about the homes that are protected, the families, the pets, or maybe it's the college student walking from the dorm to the class, or maybe you're getting out of work and you're walking to your car at night. This software, these types of integrations help these response times, and at the end of the day, potentially saving lives and making an impact that most of us really never hear about. So that's why these are so important. Next, I'm going to touch on a few aspects of the Manitou software. So Patrick, could change the slide. Awesome. As I mentioned, having fast response times and a verified alarm are key in reacting properly. Manitou allows us to see real time and accurately what is occurring when that alarm comes in. In the world we live in now and all the devices that can possibly be monitored, we can analyze data in new ways and allow you to monitor more events to understand situations to a whole new level. The third bullet you see here is how Manitou can automate and streamline tasks. For example, operator workload can be automated, which will guarantee accurate and consistent results that we know are important to you and the end user. And then finally, have confidence that your central station is fully UL compliant. So with that, Patrick, I'll let you run through some of the other integration highlights moving forward here. So thanks.
Thanks, Brent. All right. Yeah, let's talk about the integration itself. So the integration, what the integration brings for video verification is, primarily it's directed at the native video interface. So it's taking that Manitou user, the operator at the central station, and not pulling them into any kind of different interface. So it's bringing the DW Spectrum video into Manitou's video control center module. So it's all the alarm handling that you're doing in Manitou, and then taking video from Spectrum and incorporating it with that alarm handling for that operator, as Brett said, for those response times, to improve those response times by keeping it all in that native video interface. Simplified connectivity. So the integration is built around connecting via DW Cloud. So your DW Spectrum system is connected to DW Cloud. This eliminates the need for any kind of port forwarding or manual network configurations. So as the DW Spectrum users out there know, Spectrum connects to DW Cloud in seconds, and having Manitou be able to establish a connection through DW Cloud eliminates those painful conversations of trying to get the network configured to allow video out through the network once you've got it connected to DW Cloud. Video verification of alarm and virtual guards, integrating DW Spectrum with the Manitou platform. Again, it's all about the response time and those central stations that they've got their Manitou interface, and they're able to add those added services of virtual guard tours, of watching somebody walk through the parking lot, and those guard services, those virtual guard services. So enhancing the offering of taking your Spectrum system and putting somebody at the other end of that Spectrum system who's able to watch and verify those employees on those late night tours out there. So the integration benefits, this allows, there's data passing between the Manitou platform and DW Spectrum. As I've mentioned, the connection is through the DW Cloud. So Spectrum gets connected to DW Cloud, and Manitou can connect to the systems via DW Cloud. So it's the support of that system through that Web Connect functionality. And what we're doing in this case is we're transmitting both live and recorded video from DW Spectrum into the Manitou interface in the format that Manitou operator can just associate it with an alarm point and bring up that camera stream to when that alarm point is triggered. You're also able to transmit alert events. So from Spectrum, we can send information to Manitou based off of all of the rules, and we'll get into that a little bit more here. But harnessing the power of the Spectrum rules engine and delivering that information to Manitou, to where you have that central station operator who's then able to act accordingly. Along the same lines as that is that any of the additional event rules inside of Spectrum, so whether it's the health status of the recorder, cameras disconnecting, all of those health events can communicate to Manitou in the same form and fashion. We'll cover that here in just a second. And then finally, it is a two-way integration where you can take the operator can communicate via the DW Spectrum system to make things happen. And again, we'll cover this more in just a couple slides here. But so if we lay it out and plot it out in an integration diagram here, it doesn't matter if it's a site watch illuminator, a camera, all connected into one of our Blackjack servers. It could be a CAS camera by itself. It could be it could be standard analog cameras or IP cameras connected to a Blackjack AI server where you're running the analytics on the AI server to create those events. That the exception reporting, when there's a person in an area after hours, or when there's a vehicle in the area after hours, you want to send that information, those alert events, to that central station that's Manitou based. And so all of that information can be fed into the Manitou system without any need for any kind of port forwarding or VPN access. No need to open inbound ports. This is just on a secure outbound connection from each site. So when we look at the integration, we talk about the communication. It starts off with making that connection. So the Bold group has a driver. So it's the Digital Watchdog VCC driver from the Bold group that makes that connection. And once you've installed that driver and you've got obviously the compatible versions of the software down there below, you'll have the device discovery button there, which allows you to go out and discover the cameras and bring the cameras in. So cameras that are managed from DW Spectrum are brought right into the Bold interface. And this is where you would go in and associate them with those alarm points to where you can alarm areas and zones in Manitou, enable the operator for a seamless experience. So through this discovery process, you're making the connection to the camera. It's taking the camera name from the system, but you can edit that for the operator to make it a little bit easier. And then this is where you would again associate it with the area and the zone in the Manitou system, so that as those alarm points are triggered, those camera notifications are populating for that operator. As I mentioned, Spectrum can send the events, whether it's health events, analytic events, whatever it is, from the rules engine. So you'll see here all the different types of events, whether it's an analytic event coming from a Blackjack AI server, whether a car or a vehicle is detected in an area it shouldn't be, even from any kind of third-party device that can communicate with Spectrum, you can bring that in through the generic event function. Contact inputs that are connected to the cameras or to I/O devices can be brought in through the input. And then you've got the motion on the camera as well. And finally, the last one down there, I would say, would be the soft triggers. So you can even have an operator, press a button in Spectrum, whether it's on their mobile app or through the client. And what you're doing from that, once you've associated what type of event it is coming from which camera and which device, and you can even schedule this for certain hours of the day, what you're sending to Manitou is an HTTP request, and you're sending that HTTP request to the media gateway. So the URL is going to be different for every system depending on how the media gateway is set up, but you're sending that information and you're associating it with the zone and the contact ID for that particular system of what it is, and that's where your association of the information that's coming from Spectrum, so that you can then in the Manitou system associate it with an area in a zone. As I said, health events can also be transmitted. So whether it's a camera being disconnected, server failure, storage issue, server on startup, if you want to send different health events, all of those can be transmitted to Manitou as well, all through the same process. Just refer to the alarms in Spectrum. You're referring to the rules engine. You're creating the event on the event side, what's going to trigger it. And then the action is going to be an HTTP request to the media gateway of the Manitou system. And this is where, conversely, you're going to come back. So if you want the central station operator to make a change at the site. So in this case, one of the things we're talking about is our site watch illuminators as part of our perimeter protection line. So if you want to turn on the lights, our hybrid illuminator is a great product for A, getting better video by turning on lights, B, acting as a deterrent. If you turn on the white light, it can act as a deterrent. You can even program in Spectrum that you want that white light to strobe, or the intensity of that white light you can change. So all of those output controls can be controlled through Manitou. And in Manitou, you'll see here a screen representation of the output control and the trigger. So that central station operator is looking at their Manitou interface, and they're able to send a trigger alarm. And then in Spectrum, how we're going to receive that is we're going to receive that through the generic event coming from that Manitou system. So you're setting it up that, hey, we're going to send a trigger alarm, and we're going to send that to the Spectrum system. And then what do you want to do with the action of it? Whether it's moving a PTZ to a preset, or as I mentioned, turning on a light or an illuminator, creating a bookmark, or even doing an HTTP request to another device. And that would be the case with the illuminator. You can that's how you're going to turn on that is through an HTTP request. But that's basically that central station operator can kind of make effects and changes via the Spectrum system down to the site from that location. We've got this all laid out in terms of in our knowledge base. We've got an overview and then a technical document, as well as the Bold group has within their technical support for additional questions and so forth. Luckily, we have the Bold group here today to try to answer some of the questions that I see coming in. So that's good. But I would refer you to the DW knowledge base and just type in Bold in the search bar there. And you'll see a couple of articles, just kind of the highlights overview of what the integration does, as well as walk you through the setup process. And I know Bold has a couple of documents on their at their disposal on their site as well that kind of line up with these documents. So just make sure that let you know that there is support information out there, as well as, of course, both Bold and Digital Watchdog sales engineers are available for discussion. So that's the simple version of it. At this point, we're going to take a look at the questions and see what we get. By all means, if anybody has any questions. Okay, so first question, seeing a couple questions go away.
Yeah, Matt is answering them as they come in. So.
Okay. That's good. Does it have any ability to alert a person with a gun? Okay, so first question I see here is regarding shooter alert. So I would refer to, in Spectrum is an open architecture platform, and we work with a number of different providers. If you refer to our technology partners, I know of at least one. There's a cloud analytics solution out there that does weapons detection through video analytics. And so, Spectrum is going to be the kind of the conduit between that video analytics solution. So you're going to bring that in as an analytic event inside of Spectrum, coming from that third party. The one I'm thinking off the top of my head is Actuate. If you look at the technology partner section, they do weapons detection. They can send events into Spectrum via the generic event or also the analytic event, and then you can then make things happen inside of Spectrum, as well as notify Manitou via that. Easy way to do that. So I see another question here regarding, is there an NVR required on site? So we do have a product that we call CAS, which is Camera as a System, to where we have the Spectrum media server on the camera. And so we can record right to the internal SD card. We've upgraded the SD cards to now be up to 1 terabyte of storage on board. And in that case, there would be no NVR required on site. You would just take your CAS camera, again, connect it to the DW cloud, and you can then connect it to the Manitou Media Gateway for the interface here. But yeah, typically it's going to be usually it's one of our Blackjack servers on site, is making that secure outbound connection to DW cloud. Okay, I think I answered that one. Now, nothing of your service. How can I get them information about adding the service? So question about the central alarm, central station looks like knows nothing of your service. So that's where Brett and his team come in, because they're talking to those central stations about Bold, and if they're on the Manitou platform, they have a client out there that's using DW Spectrum. You can bring in your DW Spectrum regional sales manager, talk about DW Spectrum, and as long as they're on this Bold platform, we can get the two solutions to work together. Okay. So Matt, did you see any other questions in there that?
I'm looking through them right now.
Will integration work no, Jason, the answer to that is it's got to be connected to DW cloud to make that connection, so that you're going to connect the Spectrum system to DW cloud, and Bold's going to connect in through that DW cloud system. Matt, do you see the one about the test driver?
Test driver would have to be identified through, we don't have cameras necessarily, any digital watchdog cameras are set up in our sales environment. We have to take that offline and find a resolution for something like that. Patrick, we could probably talk about that offline and maybe send something out if that's what we want to do. Typically, what we do is do some type of demo if we have like test environment, test equipment, and they can see what it looks like with Manitou and with digital watchdog together.
Yeah, so we have our demo system as well, and I mean, really, that's how I think the integration was written using our demo system in our Cerritos, California office. Actually, the system that we have on demo has 2 servers in Cerritos as well as a server in Tampa, all merged together, and the development team connected into that to then feed it back into their Manitou system. So it's pretty. If you have a Spectrum system out there, if you have a Manitou system, pretty easy to get it up and installed.
Mm-hmm. There's a couple questions regarding video driver within for Manitou. You'll need to have a video driver licensing for this to work. You just contact your Bold Group sales representative and identify whether or not you have the existing licensing component or it might have to be purchased. There's also a requirement for the health alerts to come into Manitou. It's using our universal connector component. That might be an add-on depending on the customer. A lot of customers have all video drivers, so we just load it onto the system, have a little bit of labor, get you set up and ready to go, start utilizing that great full rich integration immediately. Sometimes you have to pay for the licensing. It just depends on the licensing for each customer. Every customer is different.
So
go ahead.
I'm sorry, Matt. Did you see the one about this is a specific driver, right?
It's not a specific driver. We will have a video driver. There's nothing in our sales environment that says specific to that. So we're using a standard driver for this.
Okay.
Even though with the rich features that it has within the integration, it's fantastic. It's a great value. There is a question regarding, are there any management features through BoldNet? No, everything is coming in through the API, through Digital Watchdog's API, directly into Manitou. It's specific to that. It's not going through our API in BoldNet.
Yeah, so and kind of the one next to that regarding multiple ISPs. Yeah, that's the beauty of connecting your DW Spectrum system to DW Cloud, regardless of the ISPs, regardless of the IP address. Yes, dynamic IP addresses at the site. What you're doing when you connect it to DW Cloud is you're making that secure outbound connection from the device, whether it's a cast camera or a blackjack server running DW Spectrum. And so that's making that connection. The beauty of that is if the ISP changes, if the IP address changes, it doesn't really matter because it's all reporting up to DW Cloud on that connection. And that's where we're making that connection. Okay.
There's also a question regarding, does Manitou require, or can this integration be viewed on Manitou Legacy Client or Manitou Web Client? This integration is only available in the Manitou Web Client.
Okay, so the Manitou Web Client. I see one of the questions there regarding available. Is there a list of DW alarms? Yeah. So when you go to the rules engine inside of Spectrum and you're looking at the events and you hit that drop down, which is what I'm showing here, these are all the health events. So device disconnected, that would be typically a camera that's connected to it. But if it gets disconnected, you can create a notification event off of that. The notification event to Manitou is using the HTTP request as the action. License issues, network issues, server conflicts, server failures, storage issues, all of those health type events are native inside of the DW Spectrum rules engine. And then, but the action is what you need to program as far as whether you want to be, on-screen notified inside the Spectrum client, you want to be mobilely notified through the push notification to your cell phone using the DW Spectrum mobile app, or if you want to send it to the central station using the media gateway in Manitou. Matt, do you understand the question regarding the central station staff?
I'm reading it now. Yes, in the integration itself, the BCC will launch the other cameras. It has multiple cameras associated to a site. It'll automatically populate those cameras that are associated to that site to the operator. It's not going to pop up on a different screen. There has multiple camera views on the integration itself, so it will easily handle this within your environment of one alarm per operator. You have multiple cameras at one time.
And next question was that no, DW Cloud is not a paid service. DW Cloud is a component of DW Spectrum. It's one of the 4 components. So you've got the media server, which is the recording engine. You've got the client software, which is available in Windows, Linux, and Mac. Those are the 2 primary components. Then you've got your mobile app, which is available in both iOS and Android. Again, there's no charge for either the client or the there's no charge for any of them. The charges in DW Spectrum come from when you start recording, you initiate that record license inside of Spectrum. But DW Cloud is, so Spectrum is a cloud managed solution, which allows you to go in and A, you get the remote connectivity, B, you've also got the ability to manage your users. And so we're using that remote connectivity component to communicate with Manitou. But there's no additional charge on the DW Spectrum side when you connect it to DW Cloud.
There's another question regarding, do we have pay any fees to add this to our instance of Bold Manitou Cloud? So we have our cloud environment. Each customer, no matter whether they're on premises or cloud, will be required to have the appropriate video driver component licensing. And again, the universal connector to receive the health alerts coming into the application as well. So it's dependent on each customer's licensing. You can call your sales representative, Brent, any one of us, and we can point you to the right appropriate person to get that information for you, see exactly what that would look like financially for everybody. There was also another a question before from an anonymous person. Are there any recurring fees? It's dependent on the Manitou side. It's dependent on whether or not you have the licensing already. If you have the licensing already for the appropriate components, the video driver and the universal connector, then there is none.
Right.
But if you do have to add it, there is some very small fees associated with it as well.
I see another question here where it says he's asking, can we use our own central station provider? And I mean, I would assume the answer is as long as that central station provider is Manitou based.
Correct.
That would just be your confirming that they're using the Manitou system and you've got a Spectrum system out there. It's definitely possible.
Yes, they will have to be on the latest and greatest version of Manitou, but outside of that, yeah, if they're on a legacy version of Manitou, this will not work. Just call our support staff and get you upgraded to the latest and greatest.
Yeah, I should mention, as far as on the Spectrum side, we've this integration was built around 5.0. So you just want to upgrade your DW Spectrum system to 5.0. As Spectrum users know, there's no additional charge for the upgrade. You just go into the update section. You can put in the information that's found in the release notes to upgrade your Spectrum system. So you can bring that from 4 to 5 very easily, and keep it up to date. There's a whole host of new features. That's a whole nother webinar in 5.0 and a whole new set of cybersecurity capabilities in 5.0. So we encourage everybody to update going forward as we continue to make improvements and add new features to the product. cameras that support AI internally be able to be used. Yeah, so any camera that's generating events, metadata events in the Spectrum are coming in through this rules engine. So if it's server-based analytics or camera-based analytics, you're directing them towards Spectrum, and then Spectrum is that interface point to then fire it off into Manitou. So absolutely, anything that can communicate and generate connection into Spectrum can then be communicated out across the Spectrum platform into the Manitou gateway.
Malcolm's got a question for you.
Yeah. So we're the question appears to be an NDAA question. So yes, DW Spectrum is an NDAA compliant. So none of the prohibited companies are involved in any way whatsoever with Digital Watchdog in this case.
Good question, Malcolm. We have another question for Marty. Is there a fee for Manitou software upgrades? Typically, the answer is no. That comes with the support and maintenance of Manitou itself. If we have to reinstall our software, then there is a fee for labor to be reinstalled on new equipment. But outside of that, no. Manitou is your upgrades are included in the fees.
Okay, it looks like Matt, I think we got them all. Maybe there was one that just fired in there.
I think that's all of them.
Yeah,
Patrick.
That looks good. Okay, so I think we've got them all, but if I missed any, if anybody has any further questions, my email address should be on your screen right now. Brent is on your screen as well. We can certainly get back to you, arrange a one-on-one discussion or a group discussion. Again, we can bring Bold and Digital Watchdog together to discuss this solution. We've got sales teams out there, sales engineers out in all the different regions, ready to answer these questions and solve these problems and go forward. So appreciate everybody's time joining us today. Thank you for coming. And again, if any questions, let us know. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Bold. All right.
Thanks, everybody.